What is up, everybody? I'm NoLuxGiven here with your afternoon snap, and today, because Death's Domain is the featured location, I wanted to take a look at this Destroyer deck, which has a lot of really cool ways to play around this location, and we get pretty lucky on the locations this game. Our second one is going to be Onslaught Citadel, which works really well with cards in our deck like Mojo and Warpath. We're playing a bunch of ongoing cards, as you can see. That's why we've also got Spectrum in this list. And then on turn 3, that last location is going to be Nowhere, which isn't good with Electro or Spectrum, but is very good with Destroyer. I'm going to go ahead and throw Electro into Death's Domain. That's going to give us an extra energy and destroy Electro, so we don't have to worry about the drawback. And then my opponent's going to play Storm, which I think is in bad taste to storm the featured location. But either way, that's going to be flooded, so this is the last turn we can play cards there. And I would consider just totally ignoring this location and going for Onslaught Citadel with my big ongoing cards. However, I think that Warpath brings enough power that I should just actually play some cards into the flooded location. And I realize that my curve can be this turn Warpath plus Ant-Man, next turn Spectrum, and then finish that off with Iron Man plus Mojo in Onslaught Citadel for a huge quadruple power lane. So I think we're doing pretty good. Jessica Jones is going to add 4 more power to the flooded location, which means we will need Spectrum to turn that in our favor. And just to curve out, I'm going to play that out right now. I think we would potentially have a little bit more of a surprise factor if we held on to the Spectrum for a turn, but this way we get to use our 6 energy this turn, and then next turn we'll get to use our 7 energy with Iron Man plus maybe even Colossus into Onslaught Citadel. But either way, I think that Spectrum should be able to lock it up, barring some type of movement card or go wide card. We're looking pretty good in this one, and unfortunately we didn't get to make too big of a use of Death's Domain. Obviously it destroyed our Electro, so because of that, we're going to look at one more game after this to see some of the other tricks that this deck can use with the Death's Domain. Then we draw Destroyer on the last turn. I actually think about just popping that into Nowhere. That could obviously be really good, but I think just locking up those 2 locations for Iron Man and Mojo, because Destroyer in lane 3 would shrink our Warpath, and then things get a little bit dicey. But either way, my opponent is going to retreat, and we're going to be victorious in that one. But like I said, I wanted to take a look at one more game. I'm playing a whole bunch today because I love this deck, and it works so well with Death's Domain as the featured location, with cards like Professor X in it that we didn't really get to draw last game. And in this one, we're going to start off by throwing a Lizard into Stark Tower. There's probably going to be a lot of stuff going on in Stark Tower, but I figured we'd throw a Lizard in there at least to get the ball rolling. And my opponent's going to meet that with Angela, so Lizard is probably not too long for this world, but we do get Death's Domain as that 3rd location. So I'm excited about that. And then I'm going to put Cosmo into Monster Metropolis. Destroyer obviously works really well in the Metropolis. It'll be a 6 cost 19 power card, so that's pretty decent. So we'll set up for that by playing our Cosmo there this turn. My opponent's going to play a Collector. Cosmo misses the hood, but maybe Cosmo will still find some nice value in being able to shut off some stuff going forward. We've got Armor, which is kind of cute with Death's Domain, but Armor's tricky. If you play it there too early, then it opens up the Death's Domain for your opponent as well. So after some thinking about it, I actually just decided to play Armor into Stark Tower. That way at least we're still remaining competitive in that location, keeping my opponent honest, and we'll be able to get some bonus stats there on turn 5. My opponent hits me with a Widow's Bite and a Beast to bounce the Black Widow, so we're not going to be drawing any more cards this game, but luckily we've got everything that we need already right in our hands. Now, I do want to point out this was a small mistake. I should have put the Widow's Bite into Stark Tower, because I'm not going to do anything with it in Death's Domain, and in Stark Tower it would at least get +2 power at the end of this turn, but the important thing here is we are playing the Professor into Death's Domain. I told you there's a bunch of cool cards to play into the Death's Domain in this deck, like Electro. But Professor X is definitely really cool. To my opponent also played a card into Death's Domain. We'll see what that is in just a second after they give us another Widow's Bite. And the card that they play is actually Electro as well. But because our Professor is there, we're going to win that location, lock it down, and my opponent's Electro will not get destroyed. So I wanted to kind of show both ends of that coin here. Thought that was pretty funny. We'll just be able to throw Destroyer into Monster Metropolis, and my opponent has had enough with that one, only being able to play one card this turn. So pretty sweet stuff. That is going to be it for me today. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm No Lex Given. Peace.